Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
which hobbies that people do screams rich people. We had a meet and greet with a new executive at my company, and she told us one of her hobbies is investing in real estate. Quote, "The frustrating thing about having money makes money is that if you have the money to do this, it's a great financial decision. For a small-scale example, I dated a woman in college who had a rather wealthy mother. Instead of renting a place to live for her daughter, she just bought an apartment close to campus, and then sold it when my ex graduated. Because the rent she charged my ex's roommate covered both upkeep and the mortgage, she not only broke even, but probably turned a profit, while the rest of us were in the negative for paying rent even though we didn't have as much money. If I had the money to do that, I'd invest in real estate as a hobby too. I lived in that situation. The guy was a VP at a publishing house and bought a 5BR house in a neighborhood near campus for his daughter while she was in college. He paid her to manage it and rented out the other 4 rooms. The place was nicely furnished and full of books from the publisher. It was a great setup, until the daughter got pregnant and had to go home at the end of the first year. Sadly, I had to move out into a standard university ghetto apartment for the next year. My neighbor is a yachtsman who makes a middle-class living racing rich people's yachts. So, I would say hiring people to indulge your hobbies is about as 1% as one can get. Sounds like an interesting job. He gets to spend far more time yachting than the actual owner. Not too different than merchant families being patrons for artists during the Renaissance or billionaires buying sports teams. They love the hobby, but they know they can't replicate the talent. In Germany we have a saying, if you play golf, you're too poor for horses. You buy horses if you are too poor for sailing. If you are sailing, you're probably too poor for jets and motor yachts. Historic motorsports is also a good indicator for wealth, especially F1. It's so funny to me that F1 is such an indicator of wealth and gentleman's sport because being into motorsports in the USA means you're blue collar. I started watching F1 and picked Verstappen partially because he's from Red Bull, Honda. I can afford a Red Bull and a Honda. It's so funny to me that F1 is such an indicator of wealth and gentleman's sport because being into motorsports NASCAR in the USA means you're blue collar. FTFY. I grew up with a parent who loved F1, and I learned at a very young age that liking NASCAR and liking F1 are two very, very different things. That's a really long saying. He was just paraphrasing. In Germany we have a word for it. Bartender here. 2 very cute girls from outer town sat at my bar. Equally cute guy walks in. Immediately buys them drinks. His opener was, "So how often do you gals boat?" They were from fucking Philly lol. When he said that, I couldn't not smirk at it. He also tipped me like $130 for 3 Jameson Cokes. We only motorboat when we're really drunk. He wants to take them boating. Because of the implication. Are these women in any danger? You keep saying implication. What implication? I work for Porsche. Many clients have racetrack memberships where they garage the cars and have track days. $80 $90K initiation fee, $10,000 annual fee for some memberships. Track memberships are just race car country clubs really. But racing is done on all budgets. Even cheap racing is expensive. On my road trip 2 years ago, I visited Indy 500 track in Indianapolis. This coincided with some sort of Porsche track day, and my tour guide told me that all members who participated that day had to have a Porsche 911. And also buy another 911 that would be used in the event IARC. Yeah, rich is an understatement. Polo. When I learned you need to have a whole trailer full of horses for a single player to use for one match, it blew my mind how expensive it would be to have as a hobby. I heard a polo player once complain that not many young people played the sport. He said, "You only need 5 horses. Your parents can buy them." Haven't heard someone that out of touch with reality often. I worked at one of the largest polo clubs in America, and had all sorts of celebs and former presidents go there. Made great money because how some of these people tip is insane. Not usually the celebs, but the moderately rich people always have a 20. During the after party of one tournament I went to, there was a race between one of the fastest horses, a Bugatti, and a helicopter. Many matches need 4 to 5 horses per rider per game. A bare minimum is 2. But as many as 8. There's 8 players per game, 4 riders per team. So you're looking at up to 64 horses to play. Throw in the ancillary resources for just the horses. Vets, stable boys, groundkeepers. Yeah, it's a rich person sport. Why so many horses? Do they just get tired? Going to space. Astronomical prices. They're just skyrocketing. Yachts and yacht clubs. I am a member of a yacht club. Go sailing regularly and currently have just under €300 to my name. It is the exception to the rule, but it is amazing what you can do if you find the right groups. Is this just a polite way of saying you're a pirate? The fastest way to become a millionaire is to become a billionaire and go racing. I've heard the fastest way was to buy an airline. I went to my auntie's 70th birthday. She's a hobbyist pilot and longtime member of an aviation club. My partner and I were talking to one of the guys there and he asked, "Did you guys ever get into flying?" Quote. To which we obviously replied with, "No." He seemed genuinely surprised and then asked, "Oh, did your parents just not let you?" The obscene cost of flying, owning, renting planes never even entered his mind. The only reason he could see for not flying planes as a child was a lack of interest. Pretty fucking mind-blowing TBH. To be fair, it's probably because he knows your aunt is a longtime pilot. If you have a family member who already owns and/or has access to a plane, it can actually be fairly affordable to get your license. Now, I'm not saying it's an option if you're living paycheck to paycheck, but it's absolutely affordable if you're not interested in buying a house or buying a new car, taking vacations, etc. It is expensive, but not nearly as expensive as people think.